Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an artwork, a watercolor of Ranni from Elden Ring. And just a quick disclaimer, I am very new to watercolor. I am very new to sketching and I am just going to give it my best shot. It's going to be a lot of fun learning how to do different methods, and I'll be explaining some of the things I've learned along the way in order to get my result. But yeah, I feel like this is just going to be one of those videos where you pour your hot beverage, you grab your hobby of choice, and you sit along and vibe with me. So if that sounds good to you, let's get right into it. So first off, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use a reference image. And guys, do not be afraid to use reference images. It helps you learn. Look at the reference image and try to roughly sketch out the shapes. This by no means needs to be perfect at this stage. You're going to go in with watercolor after and you're going to lighten those lines anyways. So go with the flow. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Ranni's character design. I think it's absolutely beautiful, just how they play with the different hues of blue and they create contrast kind of monochromatically. And I think that, oh my gosh, my dream would be to make a cosplay for her. I'm just really scared of those extra arms, guys. But yeah. Do you think Elden Ring is a cozy game? Because I feel like people are very split on this. I think it really depends on how you play Elden Ring. If you play Elden Ring to go, level up and defeat the bosses, then yeah, that might not be very cozy feeling. But at the same time, like, I've had sessions straight up where I just needed to collect like smithing stones. So I just vibed and, ran across the whole map and picked things up and, like avoided the fights, which was honestly like a different way of playing the game, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright friends, it's now time for the watercolor. I'm just pulling this little plastic sheet that the sketchbook came with and placing it behind my work. If you're doing a lot more of what's called the wet method, then your page will get slightly damper and you just don't want anything running onto the next page, so it's good to place down first. I think I'm really feeling this lake blue, but I see that we also have like kind of the gray on the top and then the dark blue, so I'm really excited to start dipping into my pans. So for her fur cloak, I decided to try a mixture of the wet and dry method. So you'll see me dipping my brush into some water, dipping it into my gray, and putting it down on the painting. And when I want a little more stark contrast, my brush will be drier, and therefore the color will appear more saturated and dark. It's really interesting. So because watercolor paints are water activated, if you add more water to a place that's dry on your painting, it will allow you to spread the paint thinner. So here I am just playing around with techniques and just going lightly with my brush and creating kind of like a flicking motion with my wrist in order to try to replicate the pattern and texture of fur. If I don't feel like I gained enough contrast in certain areas, I'll let the paint dry first and then I'll add another darker layer just to try to make it a little more dimensional. If you made it to the part in this video where I'm adding blue to Ranni's hair, please drop a blue heart in the comment section down below. I sincerely appreciate you. Let's keep going with this painting. So here again, I'm using the wet and dry method. I start by using the wet method to base out the color of her hair, and then I use the dry method and a drier brush in order to put down the stark lines and the outlines and highlights in her hair. So after erasing the pencil lines and moving the shavings, I'm ready to get started with this lighter blue color for her face. In this case, I'm going to be using a wetter brush just simply because I don't want her face to be overly saturated. I still want to keep with that like light ethereal theme. I don't think I erased enough of my pencil here because it looks like her face is turning a little bit gray. I think for this artwork that's definitely okay, but that's definitely something for me to note for future projects. Honestly, out of all components of Ranni's costume, I'm obsessed with her hat. It's giving witch, it's giving mushroom, but it's also giving celestial all at the same time. Amazing. You know what, guys? I'm feeling brave. If this video gets 500 likes, I will go ahead and craft Ranni's hat. So if you want to see that, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And it would be a daunting project, but I think it would be a super cool one. So here I'm actually taking a lighter shade of blue and I'm adding a little bit more water and blending a gradient in the middle. Surprisingly, this is fairly easy with watercolor. Okay, whoa, that was a lot of paint. I think I'm gonna have to just commit now and go with it. I think it's gonna give a nice dimension to the hat, and we'll kind of see where this goes. But honestly, this has been a big trust the process thing for me because, as mentioned, like I haven't really used watercolor before, so it's just like I feel like watercolor is one of those things where you can really experiment with what you're doing and just see what works best for you. Using the dry method again, I'm going to be adding some more ripples and lines into her witch hat. So you can't really see it in this clip, but the paint that I'm dipping into for the ghost-like form of Ranni on top of her face is actually a metallic watercolor paint. So it does have a glitter in the paint, which makes it a little grainy, which I find a little strange, but in person, I don't think the camera is doing it a justice. It's very pretty. Guys, honestly, when people say hands are hard to draw, they are so hard to draw. So I'm going in again with my pencil just to see if I can correct it first before I go ahead with any watercolor. I could definitely use some more practice on drawing hands, but this is the best I could do. Using the dry method once again, I'm just adding some more detailed lines to her clothes to try to resemble the folds and shaded areas of her dress. I'm now taking a white paint marker and essentially adding any details that I want to highlight. It's really important that your watercolor paint is dry underneath before applying your paint marker, otherwise you might get some unwelcome smudging and it's really hard to fix after. And final step here, I'm just going to take a fine lined pen and I'm going to outline and ink our painting. Sorry for the top of my head, I just wanted to make sure that all my lines were placed really nicely and that they were crispy as well. I thought it would be a really nice last touch to use the wet method and really saturate my paper and then just drop little dots of the watercolor paint in to let it disperse. And I think this method is actually really cool. Thank you so much for watching. I'm actually really happy with how my Ranni turned out. How do you guys think I did? Let me know in the comments down below if there is a video game character that you want to see in a watercolor painting. I would love to bring that to life for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!